So this is our second lesson on looking at multiplying fractions. We're going to look at how we can make our calculations in the most efficient way that will help us get to the simplest answer possible as quickly as we can. So, basic method, just to go back over this, is that if you're multiplying together two fractions, you're going to multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators together. So for example here, you can see 2/3 times 5/7. You're doing 2 times 5 on the top there to get 10, and on the bottom 3 times 7 to get the answer of 10/21. That fraction can't be simplified, so as far as this one's concerned, that's the most efficient way to do that particular question. However, sometimes when you do a multiplication like that, you might need to simplify your answer. Just a little reminder that to simplify your fraction, you're going to be dividing both the numerator and the denominator by the highest common factor. So if we look at this next example here, we're doing 1/3 times 3/5. If we did the first method that we just saw a minute ago, where we were multiplying the numerators, so we're doing 1 times 3 to get 3 on the top, 3 times 5 to get 15 on the bottom, but your answer of 3/15 can be simplified. And when you're simplifying, you're basically looking for what's the biggest number that will divide into that top number and into the bottom. So you're looking for what's called the highest common factor. In this case, that is 3, and that means that the fraction simplifies down to 1/5, and it's the 1/5 that would be your final answer. However, rather than multiplying and then simplifying, we can actually do what's called the cancelling method by simplifying first and then doing the multiplying. So how do we do that? If you're looking at this calculation here, you would see that on the top in our numerator, we've got a 3 on the right hand fraction, and we've also got a 3 on the bottom fraction. So those are what's called common factors. So we can say that we're going to divide the top and the bottom by 3, and so those 3's cancel, and you're then left with 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 5 on the bottom is 5, and that's how you can get your 1/5 without having to write. If you compare the right hand side to the left hand side there in terms of methods, you'll see it's a lot quicker to do this cancelling method. So as long as you're looking for a factor, a common factor between numbers on the top of your fractions and numbers on the bottom, you can simplify, and you should try to do this before you multiply. So this example here, example 3, actually demonstrates why the cancelling method can definitely be more effective in certain situations. And this is one of them where you've got these big numbers. If you did the method of multiply and then simplify, it would mean here that you're doing 8 times 5, which is alright, that's 40, we all know how to do that. But 15 times 24 on the bottom, that's not quite as straightforward. That would require you to do a long multiplication where you're trying to do 15 times 24 on the bottom there, and 15 times 24 is 360, but you would have to do the long multiplication for that. You then got this fraction of 40/360. That needs to be simplified. You might spot that you can divide top and bottom by 10. That gives you 4/36, but then we can still divide that by 4, top and bottom, so we'd have to simplify again, and eventually we would get to 1/9. If you look at the right hand side, I'm going to show you how we can get there a whole lot quicker by doing the cancelling method. So if we look at the 8 and the 24 here, you'll see that we can divide 8 and 24, both numbers by 8. So if we said 8 into 8 goes 1, 8 into 24 goes 3. If we look at the other pair, you've got 5 and 15. Both of those can be divided by 5. So we say 5 into 5 is 1, 5 into 15 is 3. And we don't cancel the 3's here because they're both on the bottom. You can only cancel between numbers on the top and number on the bottom, and you're working in pairs at a time. So what you're then left with on the top there, 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 3 is 9, and there's our answer a whole lot quicker than doing the method on the left there. So simplifying first and then carrying out the multiplying is definitely the easier method, and it's one that you should try to get used to. So I'm going to say that I'm going to go through each of these 3 examples. As you're watching this video, you might want to pause so that you can copy them down, or you can scroll back through and copy them down once you've watched the whole video. So if we're looking at trying to do 2 9s times 4 7s, numbers on the top there, you've got 2 and 4, numbers on the bottom, 9 and 7. There aren't any common factors there at all, so there is no cancelling to do with that. So all you simply do is 2 times 4 to get 8 on the top, and 9 times 7 on the bottom is 63, and that would be your answer. No simplifying, no cancelling to do. With the second example, you look at what you've got on the top. You've got a 2 and a 5 on the top there, so you're looking for things in common with the bottom. So with the 2, you'll see on the bottom of the fraction here, you've got an 8. Both of those are divisible by 2, so we could say 2 into 2 goes 1, 2 into 8 is going to go 4 times. Then looking at the other pair, you've got 5 and 15, so you're going to do 5 into 5 goes 1, 5 into 15 goes 3. There is no other cancelling to do there, so you're then left with 1 times 1 on the top, which is just 1, and 3 times 4 on the bottom, which is 12. So your answer would be a 12th. And yes, you could get there in the other method by multiplying and then trying to simplify, but this method is definitely much quicker. And in example 3, nobody wants to have to do 25 times 32 on the bottom there. So if you can't possibly can, you're going to look for what can I cancel. So most obvious one here is you can see a 5 and a 25, so hopefully you can spot, well, that means I can divide top and bottom by 5. So I get 5 there and I get 1 on the top. Between the 12 and the 32, you can divide both of those numbers by 4. So you would be doing 4 into 12 would go 3, and 4 into 38 would 32, sorry, would go 8 times. No other cancelling to do there. So final answer from this, you do 3 times 1 would give you 3 on the top, and 5 times 8 on the bottom would give you 40. So final answer would be 3 over 40. So what I'd like you to do is make sure that when you're doing fraction multiplication, you are simplifying before you do any multiplying. Now, something else that links to this is that we can extend this work on to multiplying a fraction by a whole number. So this example here, teacher asks a class of 21 students how many of them have a pet. She finds that 3/7 of the class have pets. So what you'd write down for that is 3/7 of 21. Now the word of in maths gets replaced by times, and actually any whole number we can write as a fraction in this way. We can put it over 1, so this actually becomes fraction multiplication, and we are looking to do the cancelling just as we've been doing a little minute ago. So we can see that we can cancel between the 7 and the 21. They're both on the 7 times table. So 7 into 7 is 1, 7 into 21 is 3. That would give us an answer of 3 times 3 on the top there. You'd get 9 over 1. And any number, you've just seen that 21 is the same as 21 over 1. So 9 over 1 would be the same thing as the answer of 9. So 9 students in the class have pets. Right, that would be us working that out. So if you're just trying to work out any whole number calculations like this with the word of in it, and again these are two that I would like you to copy out. If you're trying to do 2/5 of 45, you would replace the of with the times sign, replace the 45 with 45 over 1, and then you just do your cancelling. So we can cancel between the 5 and the 45. 5 into 5 is 1, 5 into 45 is 9. No other cancelling to do there, so we're then doing 2 times 9 is 18 over 1 times 1 is 18 over 1, and 18 over 1 is just the answer of 18. The second example, you're doing 7/8 of 24, that's the same as 7 over 8 times 24 over 1. And again, looking for what can you cancel. You can cancel between the 8 and the 24. So 8 into 8 is 1, 8 into 24 is 3. That would leave us with, on the top there, 7 times 3, which would be 21, and on the bottom 1 times 1 is 1, and 21 over 1 is just the answer of 21. So what we'd be looking for you to do is both of the, using the cancelling fraction idea to do these ones with fractions of. So you're going to do this multiplying fractions worksheet 2 now.